Welcome to W.A.L.E Solutions video on how to add a contestant and additions to contestant entries. First of all, select your event. You'll notice your event will have a little orange bar beside it, and also here in the heading. Also over here on the right hand side you will notice that there are some details. There's the number of contestants, the number of events, the number of entries so far. Also just be aware that if you your cursor happens to be in there and you hit a space, the machine thinks it's looking for a show starting with a space, so therefore there's nothing there. So you can click elsewhere and you'll notice that there's that little black box with a cross in it. So if you click that cross, they will come back. Okay, so we go and select our contestant. And unfortunately we have our contestant is already here from another trial run, so what we might do, we just might delete all her entries, and we also will delete Barbara Smith. So this is just an idea of how you actually delete. You might have an extra contestant, or you may have entered a contestant in the wrong event. So that's how simple it is. Okay, so we do a search. We're looking for, oh dear, my fingers aren't in the right spot. There is no Smith, so we can now press either that plus or this plus down here to add, and an info or a new contestant window will open, and it has three tabs: info, events and summary. So we just type B-A-R-R and we type Smith in there. Now you will notice over here on the left hand side in the Barbara Smith has got location unknown. To change that, and also to help, say you might have two Barbara Smiths and they might be from two different areas, it is a good idea to put in the town. So therefore we have three things that identify this particular Barbara Smith. Her competitor number is 15. So then we go to events, and then we look at her. She has an event entry here which is handed in to us. So what we might do, we just resize this window for a bit, and we'll enter these events. Now in this particular case we're using alphanumerical. If you're using numerical, you just type the number of the event in, but in this case we're using alphanumerical. You can use a drop down box list if you want to, but it's a lot simpler just to type the letter in. So the first event is B2. Now we have that B2 up there. We just quickly check that that's exactly what she wanted to enter into. So we can now either press this plus button, hit the tab key, or enter or return. So then you click back in here, and the next event is B6. Next event is A1. Click back in there. C14. C12. Don't forget to click back in the box. B10, I'll show you what happens when you don't. So you'll get this little window. So you just click OK and then go back here to where you're up to. We're up to D5. And we have D10 again. Okay, so we've added we haven't added. So what has happened is there, we still haven't pressed the plus or enter return. So we have now added all the entries in according to the entry form. We have entered in 7 events, but we have 8 entries because we have 2 in the class D10. So the next thing we need to do is to go to a summary sheet. Now, you see the summary here is that we have $8, and that equates with what was on Barbara's sheet, so therefore it's $8. So the next thing to do is print out a report. So we have here what's called a summary sheet. It says she's paid $8, and if the summary sheet she'd been judged and she'd been judged to get some prize money, that would also show up in here and along there. But we can pick this greater than arrow to keep changing the page, and we'll see that figurative, there's 2 entries in figurative, So we can either print that out and give that to Barbara, or we can also print this one out, which is A4 labels. And this here not only gives Barbara's number, which is 15, and her competitor number, she's the 4th competitor in the event. And you go down to figurative in D10, she's the 7th competitor and the 8th competitor. So you can print that out, and the advantage of this is if you're just asking competitors to number their events, they can do that however they like. They can cut these up and attach them to their entry, or they can stick it on a sticky label however you currently do it. My preferred method of doing this, of course, is to print a label. We have what's called a label maker set up for a label maker label. These are currently set up for a Dymo. My brother or any other brand will do exactly the same job, and they're using large address labels. So then just clicking the greater than arrow just shows you, gives you all those details that we're talking about, so that they can attach this to their entry and away they go. One of the other things we might need to do is sometimes if Barbara may not be the one that's going to come and pick up the exhibit, we might need to identify the exhibit a little bit better than what we have. All we have at the moment is she's in D10 and she's number 7 entry. If we click on this greater than arrow and go across to items and hit the plus button, we can add additional information. So in other words, we've got D10 art. I think she's holding number 8, and the description is drawing nude male. Okay, so by doing that and then just clicking the done button, then if we go back to our summary sheet, we go to print, we go summary sheet, we go to the second page, we'll notice now that this item has a detail beside it. So in other words, when Mr. Smith comes to pick it up, he knows that it is a nude drawing, or a nude male drawing, which is also happens if you've got to post these entries out later on. So we can quickly go back in and print, go to A4 labels. It's not on here, but it is on here. It is on this one here, figurative. So we know that that's where it is. The thing is, we need to adjust that because that's incorrect. So we'll just close that little window. And I think we had figurative, was it this one here? Need to go to events. I think it was that one there. It's not that one, sorry. Well, we're over here, we might as well fix this one up too. This is the 10 art. Holding number was 10, say, I don't think it was. And the description is, it is a porcelain plate. Okay, so we can just go back, and once again if we go to our summary sheet, we'll see that in the second page we have charcoal drawing nude and porcelain plate. Okay, actual fact, so that's just a handy thing so that when they Mr. Smith comes to pick up Barbara's entries, if he does, the stewards know exactly which ones they are. Right, so that's how quickly it is to add an event and add a bit of detail to that event. So don't forget to watch all our other videos on how to use W.A.L.E. Solutions, the Stedford program.